we as kids we were never taught to accept like compliments, appreciation properly, right? We were
Yes,
never given those skills, right?
yes,
I
yes.
still struggle with this thing so much.
Same,
No.
same, same, same. We shouldn't have been stopped somewhere when we were expressing ourselves, which is
Better
very
put, exactly. A better put. We were always expressing, and then suddenly, "Tu ladka hai, mat ro." And I'm like, huh?
important. Okay, just let me tell you this. This is my favorite episodes of all episodes that I've ever recorded and released. The conversation was not just about his profession as a lens based visual artist, but also about how and what he learned. The conversation was so deep and I enjoyed it so much that I didn't have any mental energy left after the whole recording. And I guarantee you this much that you'll have a chance to introspect after listening to the whole episode. So enjoy this episode with me and Anubhav talking and having a great time, having a great conversation and getting vulnerable in the end. Hi Anubhav, thank you so much for doing this episode with me. I'm really pumped up to have this recording with you and talk about your profession as a photographer, your experience and your journey. Well, so I think it's going to be a really interesting episode. So thank you so much for doing this episode.
So I go by Anubhav. My friends call me Bhaluk. There's a whole story. We'll go with that. And usually I use the terms interchangeably, and it's just like a nickname that I am very comfortable with. So I tend to use the term photographer in select circles, and usually I like to term myself as a lens based visual artist because I just like to, like, I personally believe that I think my form of whatever I'm doing right now, I firmly believe that that's going to change because I know who I am as a person. I know this thing is going to take different forms and different shapes later down the line as and when I grow and change as a person. So the photographer part is a placeholder title so that I can like put it in like all those, well, like, you have to put in like occupations or like what do you do, photographer. Because if I put in lens based visual artist, usually what happens, the character limit, I reach the character limit and uske baad it's like lens based visual art and then there's nothing else, so I just have to like put in something. So photographer is like a stopgap measure, but like, yeah, I identify myself as a visual lens based visual artist for now. I come from a very technical background, so I am a programmer by profession, by formal education and training, and for the longest period of time, I have been like into computing and coding and stuff, and just like one thing led to the other, and then now I'm just finding I found myself in like with a camera in hand with like everything going around me, like, acha, so you're doing this now, great. So yeah, it's more of like I'm experiencing changes rather than where also I'm causing a few changes as well, technically speaking. So yeah, it's more of like going through a lot of changes and like defining myself through those changes. Yeah, that's what I would like. That's like my introduction.
That's amazing because I think there are a lot of people who are actually get stuck where they are confused about ki I have studied so much and now right now I'm going to a different path altogether. But right here I can see you where you are from an engineering background and you actually want to experience different things as it comes, as and when it comes. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
So as you said that you were you were doing your engineering and everything, and then you came into this world of which is artistic in a different level. There's no comparison between the two. These are all opposite, like पूरा का पूरा opposite है दोनों का दोनों चीज. So I would really like to know how it all started for you. Why a photographer or why a visual based artist, as you said? Why did you come into this field and not go with your engineering?
It's a so the change was precipitated by a very like a singular event in my life, which I am going to get to it. But I think like the change itself was pretty natural. My family, particularly my father and my mother, my dad has been an avid photographer when he was my age, and he used to shoot like medium format and large format films and stuff. So, and my dad is possibly the most craftiest person that I know of, because so we come from very humble families, and my dad comes from very humble origins as well, my mom as well. But then he used his like ingenuity to like make cameras for himself. So he used to make like pinhole cameras, and then he used to win prizes with those cameras. So, and I grew up, yeah, I grew up listening to these stories, and like it kind of like felt very natural. Like photography is a thing in our family. both my from my mother's side there is like music and arts and stuff, and from my father's side there is photography and metallurgical. We come from a family. If I talk to so if we split it up, I come from like a family of arts and footballers from my mother's side, so sports and arts. And I have no sports talent, so I am like a black sheep in that regard. And from my father's side I come from like very there's a saying called there's a saying in Assam, it's called mati manho, which is essentially like you're very capable with your hands to till the soil, to make stuff, being very crafty. So my entire dad's family is like from that end. So I think it's like a natural culmination, because the whole programming side was like a combination of two, right? You have to be very crafty with your solutions, because most of the times when you get problems in like a technical perspective, there is no solution. You can just like learn what a company or some other person did, but you can't really like copy it to one to one, which is like all like every single problem solution now, if I really think about it. And the whole art thing came in conjunction because there is a certain art of solving problems. Like you can have two solutions, right? There is going to be like a full-on ham punched like brute force solution, and there's going to be an elegant solution.
Yep.
The solution that doesn't require too much effort or too much resources, but it does get the job done.
Yeah.
So I think photography fits that itch for me now. Programming scratch that itch for me before. So that is like where the change came from. And the change essentially I was telling you from where the change came from. So in 2018 I got diagnosed with cancer, and then so during that period of time when I kind of like was sitting down, so there is a film that I'm literally editing on like my monitor on this is sitting there right now, which is about the change itself. So I'm just going to I'm going to shorten it up and like give it to you concisely. So what happened was that when I was like going through therapy and all that stuff, chemotherapy and everything, I just realized that if something goes wrong, the only memory that I have is like hunched over a computer 18 hours a day. I had fun doing it. So the thing is, a lot of people will feel like, no, I was unfulfilled by it, I didn't have fun. No, I had fun doing it. I literally burnt my eyes out doing that thing, and I have no regrets with it. But then the thing is, I really didn't want that to be like what I ended up doing. I wanted to explore, I wanted to know, because there's so much to learn and to know, right? So the change was already happening that period of time. It just got permanently set in stone when that happened, because a lot of things change when when there's such a big thing happening to you and to your family as well. So that's where like it started. That's where I'm at right now, and I'm very sure that it's going to change later on as well.
Okay, I think events like these. I'll start from the beginning. Like when you started as an engineer, I think as you said that you have this whole creative background of your family, and both parts of your family, like from your mother's side and your father's side, it's like totally creative. I can see that, and the way you were explaining it, I can actually feel, because coming from Assam, I see a lot of people are from those grounds, and it really, as you said, that it's very humble, and creative people are of that mindset always, that they are actually humble on that level. It's really interesting to see that. But events like these where you have a terminal disease, and you have to actually fight for it, and you have to battle with all your strength, I think that's where you decide and understand that this is not the only thing that you want to do in life. And it's kind of an irony, I think, for people to actually उस समय हमें सबको याद आता है कि yes, this is somewhere where I need to change my path and everything. But I think it's really good to see that you are doing something that you love, and you understand that it can change. आगे जाके you are happy with that change, and you'll actually grab that moment to go for what you want at that time. Whether it can be, I think, singing. It can be singing. क्या पता?
It can be anything.
And it's really nice to see that you are so acceptable about the change. People are not that ready about changes in their life.
Do you want to know one thing? Like this was not me as a person. Like I was not open to change. Okay. Like after it happened, I was like, how did it happen? I like past Anubhav would not be comfortable with a change this large, and after putting in so much into programming, like I am a person who like is very calculative, and like I weigh pros and cons, and like, so if you're like into programming from a very small age, you kind of end up thinking on like very rational and logical terms for every decision, because
Yeah.
you end up like having to save resources, right? And on when you're coding and scripting and stuff, so that thing like slowly infects, and not infects the, like slowly propagates to other parts of your life. So yeah, like the change, the acceptability, I think, yeah, it's really important that sometime or the other you need to like actually understand that there is going to be changes in your life that you can't really control, and that can be like your want to do something or need to like scratch a specific itch or something. And I always push my friends that suno that
Yeah.
should I be honest or should I be nice? And
Nice
they're
question.
going to be, yeah, they're going to be like honest, and I'm like, अच्छा ठीक है, बैठो और do not take offense इसके बाद.
I'm going to take this away from you as well. I think I'm going to use this a lot with my friends as well. I think with
Yeah,
myself
exactly.
as well. I should use this with myself.
I use that
well.
as I use that with myself. I look in the mirror and like, देखो, should I be honest or should I be nice to you right now?
That is very, as you said, कि accept करना is not that easy. The certain change that you see in yourself right now is just because that certain event that happened in your life. I think somewhere if you would have talked to me last 1 year या उससे पहले थोड़ा like around 2020 के starting में, I don't think so. You and I would have had that kind of conversation where I would be talking about acceptance, changes, and something like that, because that time I was doing a job, I was naive and I didn't understand how things work. I was just like कि हाँ पैसा कमाना है, MBA करना है, आगे बढ़ना है, that's enough. आगे कुछ सीखना नहीं है, कुछ भी नहीं करना, that's okay. But after losing my job, after understanding what mental health is, after understanding how bad the society is around so many things that we just ignore, we are so ignorant about those things. After learning about those things, reading articles and everything, joining different communities and learning about these things, I think there is a certain level of acceptance I had in myself. Like, I was wrong in so many ways. I had to unlearn so many things, relearn those things again in a whole different level. And I think aage jaake bhi we have to do that again, because
it's a never-ending process.
Yeah, as generations come, I think it's going to be a lot of changes that you'll have in you and yourself, because I think एक साल में एक इंसान बहुत change हो सकता है if it comes to something like that. I had this question where I wanted to ask you about, how did your parents react when you had this mindset of you want to go into this field and leave all on the engineering part right now, and you are actually interested in doing something like that?
I have been, so I am very open about this. I come from a very privileged family right now. I come from a very privileged position as well, because I also had like the opportunity and the privilege to be invited to people's homes who were not as economically strong as I am personally, not even with like the backing or the financial support of my parents, which they graciously offered me during my college years and stuff. Because like honestly, half of us, we just spend our parents' money during college and then we pretend it's like our money, right? Which is like fine, but like also you need to be like cognizant about the fact that it's not your money, right? So small rant aside. I am very, like, I preface this again and again that dekho, like, my point of view, even though I have seen, quote, like, very strong emphasis on the word seen, because I haven't experienced it, right? I have seen other people's lives and struggles through, like, by the very basis of me being a photographer or me using a camera. And I do not know exactly what happens when people invite me into their lives and they allow me to, like, technically invade their personal space with like a small black camera and stuff, and take photographs and stuff. So what I'm trying to say is that after all this privilege and everything, they are parents. They are going to be a bit apprehensive about it. Whenever I travel for work, or whenever I work with like some, so I freelance. Like right now I'm freelancing. I'm not working with any agencies. I did work with 2 agencies, like, and then we parted ways and stuff. But now every time, like, when they are freelancing, they have this fear that, am I able to earn money or not? They trust me, They trust me that I am going to earn money. They have that faith in me, which is like I'm very grateful, because a lot of people who are shifting careers do not have that privilege, because it's very scary as well for our parents. Like, I try to think about their POV, but I also like to think that helicopter parenting is not the way to go. If your child needs to fail to learn, let them fail to learn. Only and only if it is extremely detrimental to their economic or to their mental stability or well-being, then you can extend a helping hand, but still let them fail. Which is what I'm trying to say. If you do not let them fail, if you do not let them crash and burn and literally like disintegrate their business or whatever they're trying to do, they are not going to learn. Because a person who is trying to make something on their own feet, they are not going to, you might be Barack Obama, you might be Mahatma Gandhi, but they are not going to take your advice because they want to do it. That is how humans function. That is how most humans function. Not all, but most humans function. So coming to your question, they were pretty supportive of it. Like, if I would have put a percentage, it was like 80%, because programming, if you play your cards right, it is a very lucrative job right now, because IT is a booming sector, right? And I just the fact that I am going to throw that away, I had no cold feet. I'm like, I'll be poor, or I'll have less money in my bank. Not poor is not the right word. I'll have less money in my bank, or do some odds and ends, but I'll be happy. That is my end goal. And after like 2 months of like them being like, are you sure? They never said no. They're like, are you sure? They're like, okay, let's do this. Let's see what happens. And now, like, it has been, so I've been photographing for the better part of since 2000. So I didn't photograph using a digital camera up until 2015. Okay. I primarily used, I'm going to show you literally what I used. Okay. I always have this with me. So this is my, like, this is what I use. It's a small film camera. So I shoot, I shoot film. There is no film here. I shoot film specifically. And then I started shooting digital here and there using small point and shoots camera in 2014, 20 something. And then I finally got a DSLR in 2015. Okay. And then after that, even then I was like, this is just fun. And then over time, when I like actually started to get a bit more serious into it, and people started calling me to do their stuff, my parents, they automatically understood that I might have a knack at it. So now they're like, just like be careful about your expenses and like your finances, because it's not a steady stream of income. That is their biggest worry, because it's not a steady stream of income. And I'm like, it's fine with me. Like, I will camp out on the road and I'll be fine. Like, I don't want to have like a 9 to 5. That's it. Yeah. So if that answers your question.
Yeah, actually, somewhere, as you said, that they are parents. They will obviously be worried about how you take care of yourself, rather than the only thing that they want is कि हम लोग अपने आप को खुद को sustainable करें. That's the only thing that they want at most. Yeah, they don't want us to be millionaires. ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा. They want us to just कि yes, we are independent. We can take care of ourselves with our own finances and everything. उससे ज़्यादा they don't want anything, because yes, they somewhere care. It's not about how much they have invested on us, but the only major fact is they want us to be in a good place. And if, as you said, that if you are happy doing something like this, I have also had this opportunity to talk to my parents about what I am doing, because obviously coming from a Marwari background, all they have in their mind ki they want a job or a business, they want something to do like that only. So me talking about these kinds of things, me talking about stereotypical topics about the society, literally my parents are like, क्या बात कर रहा है, किससे बात करता है इतना देर, क्या हो रहा है, क्या है, क्या कर रहा है. I sat down, explained them and everything, and now my father shares the videos in different groups. He likes to give me credit in the sense feedbacks. About कि थोड़ा छोटा करके देखो वीडियोस को, थोड़ा ऐसे बना के देखो. I am like कि ठीक है, I'll take your feedback. The biggest happiness there is कि he's actually just giving me feedback. That's enough. उससे ज़्यादा right now he is somewhere accepted that I am doing something like this, which is very important. So I completely agree with you कि हाँ, parents will take their time somewhere to accept पूरा 100%. But जहाँ पे भी है, they actually want us to be sustainable and I mean, they want us to be independent, and they want us to take care of ourselves and be happy in whatever way possible.
I have this running theory in my brain, and I like pitched it to some of my friends, and they ran at me with like like utensils and stuff. So I have this firm belief that parents are never going to be 100% okay with career changes. It doesn't matter if you like shift from maybe it only like because of how they were brought up and like how like Indian Desi parents, particularly Desi parents, I am like convinced, apart from like out of one in every 1,000 parents, no parent will be 100% okay with their children shifting careers. It might be even a better paying career, but it is always going to be an unsure period. You might be convinced that acha, fine, it will be monetarily good or bad, whatever, but they are going to be like, but why do you not like the regularity? And I have had so many conversations about this. No,
I think this is also coming, as you said na, starting में you said कि from where they are coming from. Like उनका वो देखना जरूरी है कि what they have experienced, तब हम लोग को समझ में आएगा why they are actually reacting the way they are reacting. And yes,
Yeah, for sure.
I am also somewhere related to this part where you are saying ना कि 100% कोई sure नहीं होगा about this whole thing about career or changing your career prospects and everything. My mom is not ready for that. My mom is always about कि हाँ MBA कर लो, be secure and everything. Still she is like कि हाँ you're doing this, do this, but पढ़ाई भी करना है, जॉब भी करना है, पैसा भी कमाना है. That is also something. I'm like कि ठीक है, you take your time to accept it. I am doing something. I'll do everything that I possibly can to make myself happy and independent. But थोड़ा सब्र रखो, थोड़ा आराम से. Let's see what happens.
The patience part. Yeah, the patience.
We have to be patient more than anything with our parents. That's for sure.
Yeah.
When it comes to these kinds of things. But what's the idea behind your shoots and projects? That's the main question that I want to ask you. You have different ideas as compared to other people that I've seen doing, photography or even different kinds of short movies or short ideas that they have in their own mind. What's the idea behind your project?
So usually when I approach a project, it's less of what I think, because if a person is inviting me to their home / to their space of security, to photograph their bodies or whatever the thing is, or whatever I am making for myself, it starts off at a very basic, it starts off at a very core functionality that if I have to, like, let's take the example, the color. Let's take, so right now I am this phase where I'm like exploring colors, because another fun fact that I am colorblind, so I can't see like half the blue spectrum.
Okay.
So I can't see purple, which people tell me it's like a really pretty color, but then again I can't see it, so it doesn't really matter to me.
Okay.
So let's really take let's take the fact that I can't see the color purple. Okay? I can't see the color purple. What do I see instead of it? I see like a shade of blue. Purple, as far as I know, has this whole royal vibe to it. Purple has, throughout the ages, has been described as a color of royalty, indigo, or like that shade, right?
Yeah.
It always has been like described as like the color of kings and stuff.
Yeah.
But for me, it always has been the color of loneliness, because blue is the color of loneliness.
Okay.
And now, so if I am like approaching a subject, if the person or the subject that I'm working with, I like devolve it into the most core emotional theme that it has.
Okay.
That if it's even from a piece of textile, why is the textile being made? What is the emotional weight of it? Why is the producer, why is the textile artist even imagining that this should look this way? Why does it need to have this color? And then I'll draw this web inside my brain. And then this web that web becomes a photo of sorts in some way, or like it makes the narrative for me a bit easier. It's like a neural network. So you take a series of inputs, you take a series of processes, and then you take another series of processes, and then like narrow it down, and at the end you have like a sort of rough description of the direction that you want to take.
Yeah.
Or what. And even then it's still very free form, because like I said, coming back to the color purple and what I see as blue, so now it's just, for me, it's royally lonely. I can't, so if I take those two, so if you take those two words, if I take those two colors, now I can so imagine the color itself is the textile itself. Now if we're talking about textiles, right? If we take if the textile itself is purple color, and since I can't see purple, but it needs to be shown in like a very legal version. I can easily break it down. So now I'm just going. Usually it has a few more processes, but now I can like block out shots, and like now I can block out the philosophy behind the whole shoot. That it needs to look like it's legal. It needs to look royal, but it also needs to show that the fact that at the top it's very lonely.
Okay.
So we started from two colors. Then we took the two. Then because I can't see one color, I took that part. And usually there is a lot of input from others. So since I have been not shooting more often since the last 6 months, I have been more directing. So I'll talk to my DOPs, my shooters and stuff, the designers and everything, and they have their inputs and everything. So we started off with two colors. We started off with the textile. Then we went to like how it should feel like based off the two colors, the most logical feeling, because how these colors convey emotion, because every color has an emotion tied to it. Red has lust or anger. Yellow has, so there is a yellow light here. Yellow has like warmth and friendliness and stuff. So there's like a lot of colors and stuff, right? So I work in those. This is like a quick overview of how I break stuff into stuff and then I reform it back again. Essentially, I just break it down to where it's like a core philosophical intent, and then I rebuild it back up the way I see it fit. And this thing is just, I'm just using colors and textiles right now. I use this basic loop for almost everything. I use it for exercising. I use it for like food. I use it for culture. I use it for a lot of stuff. I use it for introspecting and stuff. I break it down and then I rebuild it back up in the way it naturally like just builds itself up inside my head. So that's usually the process. Like I am very, how do I say it? Like a very brick by brick. Like that's how I approach every single project. I take the meaning. I have like this intense, like every single time I have a project, I sit down with the client, and by the time we get up, either we are best friends or we are like we can't see each other for like a week.
Okay.
It's one of those two things.
Okay.
So it's usually a very conducive session. I try to make it very welcoming because it's also a thing. If it's a client project, it's coming from their hearts, right? You need to be very respectful about it. And yeah, that's how you're usually like, that's the philosophy and stuff.
So the idea behind it is something that you have in your head, and then the process that it takes a long time to actually get to the place that you want to. Like while you're taking the picture or while you're directing the whole thing, udhar tak aane mein it takes a while, but the in-depth process is something which is very different, I think. I have never had a conversation with someone who has had this kind of idea and creativity to actually portray something through a picture, to be very, very, very honest. Because the way you have explained to me, हमको visualize करने में बहुत time लग रहा है. I've never had a conversation like this, right? Obviously, because this is the first interaction I'm having with someone who has had the idea. जैसे you started from colors, as you said, and abhi bhi you have left a lot of things in the middle, but you have told me जो भी gist में you could have told me कि कैसे you get to the proper idea that you have in your head. अब वो bricks and bricks जो भी आप बोले, and the way you go up and get to the whole idea of it is something which is very different, and that's why I really wanted to know how you think about your stuff. What is there that comes in your head. What is that thing that comes in your head when you are actually going to shoot or going to start a new project altogether? Because as I have seen a few of your YouTube videos as well, I have seen your whole page in Instagram as well, and I have seen that it's very different. It is very, very, very different, because I researched a lot for photographers, to be very honest. काफी फोटोग्राफर्स मिले इधर उधर से, इधर से कोई फूड फोटोग्राफी कर रहा था, कोई सीनरी का कर रहा था, कोई मॉडल्स का करता था, कोई किस तरीका का, कोई किस तरीका का. बट देयर वर 4 to 5 people, okay, which I jot down कि हाँ, these are the people I want to approach. But I came to
Thank you so much. Like this is an ego boost.
No, I started to actually follow you throughout, through like 2-3 months back, and saw your work and everything. उसी तरीका से I do the process to actually get to know the person's work, how that person is working, how that person functions a bit. थोड़ा idea पड़ जाता है. But the last thing that I chose you for was that you were from Assam. and I really want you guys
Okay.
to actually understand from understand the mentality and how creative people can actually come up from Assam. You can see the whole thing. I have talked to a lot of people who are basically based from Assam. My whole podcast episodes and people I talk to and I reach
Yeah,
out.
yeah, I did say it. I did say it.
Very
I did a bit of my stalking on you as well, just to be very open about it. And I
yeah.
really like your stuff as well. Like I
So
was like
that is
scrolling. Oh, this is a lot of episodes. Then I'm like, damn.
that is why it was very important for me to actually understand how you work, because there is this mindset. If you'll ask me how I work, how I decide what episode to do, what people to reach out, I have a certain process, I have a certain understanding, but that can be somewhere common. But the way you thought, I don't think so ki a lot of people think that way, and which was very important for me to actually understand कि सबका मेंटालिटी कैसा होता है व्हेन इट कम्स टू व्हाट दे वर्क. हम सबसे ये क्वेश्चन पूछता है कि whenever you are doing something creative on your own, which is your own idea, what is the thing that is there inside your head? Because it's very important to understand कि creative people का माथा कैसे चलता है, how does their brain work? Because यहाँ पे you told me something which is really I have been talking like 5 minutes away and I am saying the same stuff again and again. It's really different from a lot of people that I have talked to, had the chance to have a conversation. It's really amazing to see कि हाँ, people can have this kind of mentality and creativity on a certain level, because as I said, it's inspiring. It's really inspiring to see that.
Thank you so much. Okay, I'll just like, since you said that, I'll sum up my entire process in
Okay.
one sentence, because
Okay.
I by the time you were thinking, I was also, my brain was like picking up on your input and I was thinking about my response on set and during the process and during the creative process. I just ask everybody to be vulnerable as much as they can, to bare their hearts to me, to tell me what they think, to
Wow.
cry, to be angry, just to like let it out. Like I will absorb all of it as much as I can. Just be vulnerable, tell me what you need, and I'll go to it.
That is
And
so
that's
nice.
like that's the philosophy.
Full on emotions all around, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like सब कुछ जो चेहरा में दिखना चाहिए वही दिख. It's really amazing. That one line is really important. It's really nice.
Yeah.
So I'll move to the next question. I won't beat
Yeah,
around the bush that much right now. Okay. The next question that I have for you is that what is the one thing as a normal person, like me, what is that one thing who does it we don't understand about photography, about photographers life as a profession? What do you think is that one thing that people actually अनदेखा कर देते हैं and they ignore about it? वैसा ऐसा क्या चीज हो सकता है according to you?
I think there is a lot of videos and photo says and a lot of stories and like Instagram highlights, reels, TikToks that will tell you that there is a lot that is done in the behind the scenes for just a single photograph. But the only thing that comes to my mind is the fact that photography is a very introspective process, or anything visual is a very introspective process. When you start working with teams and stuff, please be respectful, or like please have the space to let others throw in their opinions as well. You will never know where you find the gem. Like that is a thing I think a lot of people, even like I've worked with experienced photographers, directors and stuff, who do not allow for that space, or who cannot create that space. And I think that is something that needs to not be just for photographers or for like non-photographers or artists or non-artists. Just create the space for people to open up and pitch in, because again, humanity's only achievement in my eyes is the fact that we can talk and share ideas. It's not the fact that we have been to the moon or something or the other, or destroyed half of ourselves and maybe destroying the planet as well, but the fact that we can talk and share ideas, that's pretty fucking magical to me.
I agree with you, because a lot of people actually don't give the space, and the other people that उनको वो authority नहीं दिया जाता है कि you can actually come up and give your idea, and शायद वो idea काम कर जाए, शायद वो idea can be something which can change a lot of views and change and can be the main soul of the project as well. So absolutely agree with you कि हाँ, somewhere that respect should be there, and हाँ एक open up session रखो कि हाँ what ideas do you have, come hit me हाँ, and then we can see कि हाँ कैसे you need to go forward.
There is this one director that I worked under. I won't name names right now. This was back in Bombay, and this is what I've learned from her. is that she just comes into reading sessions, sits down, and she's like, "Bolo." And I was like, yeah, like I was not on the table back then because I was still learning and stuff. And I was like, what does she mean by bolo? And everybody started like ranting about everything. And she's just sitting there for like a solid 2 hours. She's like, just like writing, listening to it. And then at the end of like an hour, 45 minutes, she's like, okay, so these are the issues. And she's so smart about it. She's so smart about it. She writes the issues and she's also like thinking ways to solve them. And then she lists possible solutions to it. And then those things get incorporated into the directors, like into the final script or the final look of the video or like the film. And I was like, oh, okay, so this is how it is supposed to be done. Everybody gets to voice their opinions. Everybody gets to like even throw in their minds into the whole creative process. And yeah, people might say that yes, this is a very slow process. Democracy is slow. Democracy is great. What do you mean democracy is slow? Just democratize the process of creating.
That's amazing. That's really amazing because you got inspired from that factor, and somewhere when you were saying it right now, I could see that yes, you were also shocked somewhere कि हाँ ऐसा भी
Yeah,
काम
even
किया
I
था.
didn't know this that happened.
Obviously.
Exactly. Before that, I the sets that I worked on or like worked with people, they were like, okay, we're going to do this. This is the look, and we're going to post it or like release it on these days. This is the edit timeline. This is the production timeline. This is the pre-production timeline. And I'm like, okay.
वो जो list
I
बन
never
गया
had
वो
the
बन गया.
yeah, I never had the idea that we could like actually talk about it.
And so creative. It's a very different creative process where you actually let people be open up about things, and wahin pe you do everything, and it also helps you get inspired from something and put that idea that you want to put out through. जैसे आपने बोला ना, you just be vulnerable. You let people be
Yeah,
vulnerable
people
whenever
let
they
be
are there
vulnerable,
in the
yeah.
setup. So it's really nice to see that. You know, according to you, what is the difference between photography that you can see that is happening today and it was back 10 years ago? What do you see that how different do you see is it?
I'll widen the timeline to 60 years back.
Okay, go for it. Not a problem.
Because after digital images started getting really popular, the burst of photography is very hard. So I am a person who firmly believes in availability of knowledge and open source because I'm a programmer, right? And the fact that digital media or digital technologies has enabled people, has given people the power to photograph, to capture stuff around them, to the point where it's being used in political movements. That is like crazy powerful, right? When you take the power, the means of recording and presenting, and give it back to the people, then nobody has the option to run anymore. You have to be accountable. So this is like a side note. So why I'm telling you 60 years back? 60 years back, digital was not a thing. 60 years back, it was just those small cameras that I showed you, and maybe some big ones for like rich ass people, right? That is the core difference that I see. Back then, it was concentrated in like small circles of artists and trained professionals and stuff. And it always used to stay in like small encapsulated bubbles where like they viewed everything around them with a lens of privilege and aristocracy, and very few people were like could break out of that mold, and those people are immortalized as insane photographers or directors or filmmakers, whatever have you, in visual arts or like visual languages. And I think that is the biggest difference. Like back then, like 10 years back, I don't think there was a large difference as of right now. Maybe more, how do I say it? People right now have higher like people, like when India has internet, it means 1.6 or 1.7 billion people have internet, right? Yeah, so that's like a lot of people. Back then, you could literally, I am very sure you could literally count, like I'm talking about like 60-70 years back, you could literally count the number of high fashion or like journalistic or like renowned photographers in the palm of your hand, and that's it.
Yeah.
I I think the fact that it's more available is very important, and a lot of people will tell you that yeah, this means like the quality goes down, quantity goes up. There is like a large influx of low quality photography. My only answer to those people is you were also a low quality photographer.
Sometimes, yeah, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
You
Sometimes,
also had to start. You also had to struggle. You also had to learn.
yeah,
Please respect the grind.
that's really nice. But you know, when it comes to the pandemic, and when I say like, you know, when I use these two terms like pandemic and mental health, what is it that comes in your mind? What is the thing? Like when you asked me about pandemic and mental health, it was like a whole roller coaster ride for me, and I think now slowly it's going up for me. But what happens like in your mind when I use these two words, that is pandemic and mental?
Short side note: I am very comfortable with being alone,
Okay.
and to the point where I can literally stay weeks and months without human contact, and I'll be like fine.
Okay.
And it's like a thing. It's I'm always very comfortable with the fact of being alone.
Okay.
Pandemic and mental health, just for me, because of the fact that I was alone most of the time, mentally and stuff, it didn't hamper my mental health uh, that majorly, but it was more of the point where I was working with a few relief efforts and working with like to help like the street animals and stuff, because it was really hot last year. If you like
Yeah.
could see the graphs, right? And fostering animals and like putting in relief efforts. Exhaustion was a thing pandemic way, because day and night you just like worked and coordinated stuff with people who has passes and stuff, and I couldn't do as much as I wanted to do because again pandemic. Mental health ke karan, I think it's more of where I learned how to manage other people as well, how to help other people in a way that they wanted to be helped, in a way which helped them positively. It wasn't about me, it was more about how I could support people around me and even not people around me. It was more of like, how do I, since I am so okay with staying alone and I have the privilege of like being safe and stuff, how do I extend this bubble? I got like, I couldn't do as much as I could have, but I did something. And yeah, mental health personally, yeah, mental health for others has been like learning process.
Yeah, you could help, and that is an absolutely amazing answer that I have got from you, because I don't think so somebody could have talked this way. As you said, it's not about only you, it's about the people that are around you, and you had the chance to actually help them as well, and you know, understand their mental health somewhere and give them the chance to understand themselves as well. So it's really inspiring to you know, talk to you right now about this thing, because ऐसा आंसर्स नहीं मिला है, बहुत मुश्किल से ऐसा आंसर मिलता है. I could see that you have had your own certain ways of experiences and own certain you know, your own journey has been something which is very different, I can see, and काफी learnings has been there for you, and it's an absolutely, I think I am very privileged here, to be very honest.
No,
to
no,
have
I'm
the chance
privileged
to
here to speak, to be able to like share and like also learn
same,
how
same.
you have like also
Same to you.
gone
Same.
through a
I
pandemic.
swear, I have the chance to actually talk to you. That is a very big privilege, because I have always told people about the whole podcast thing कि हम बहुत privileged हैं कि I am getting the opportunity to talk to so many different kinds of people, like literally so many different kinds of people, and understand them, learn from them. कुछ ना कुछ I always take away. कुछ ना कुछ, there is always something or the other that I take away from every episode, and there's always something to learn. So that is a very big privilege for me, and I think somewhere I have the chance to give it to other people as well. So it's amazing. Thank you so much for that incredible way of explaining how the whole pandemic was for you, and how you think mental health and everything was around you, and how you had the chance to help people as well. My next question to you would be like, you know, what is the most weird question you have been asked about your profession? Whatever the work you do, what is the most weird question that you have been asked?
I usually veto, like I have this whole voting process of like what I shoot or not shoot or something, where how I process. So I haven't had like a very wild, like a very funny answer to give you, but maybe the funniest answer, or like the weirdest, not the funniest, the weirdest would have been like there was this one person, there's this one company essentially, Aro, that like approached me to shoot for them, and I don't know what were their expectations, but like it was in a dimly lit garage, and they were expecting like a full James Bond commercial out of it, and I was like, I just walked out of set, and that's it. That's the only thing I can like explain it to, because I didn't get any brief and like nothing or anything. It was miscommunication at the end of the day. We did figure it out. The film did come out nice, but like the first day was like a whole, okay, how do I like tell them that this is not possible without like breaking off this whole, like, see, I do not like conflict as much as like I would like to solve things out. So I was like, how do I avoid conflict but also let them know the reality of the situation, that like is garage mein nahi hoga what you are thinking.
वो भी talent
This thing doesn't have, yeah, like managing people are essentially at the end of the
that is
day.
that is also very important. That is also, I think, a talent for people, because सबको संभालना, you have different clients altogether. You don't have the same client always. As you're freelancing
Yeah,
right
no.
now, I think always कोई ना कोई अलग तरीका का character comes in your life, and managing those people, like seriously, people have talent to do that. To be very honest, but I would really like to know how do you get those intimate photography done, and I know you have had a lot of weird questions about this as well, as we had a chance to talk before the episode's recording. You told me that how people have been so weird about these kinds of things, and you had to your Instagram account also got blocked, and you had to start
Yeah,
all fresh and
yeah.
everything. So I would really like to know, to let other people know, to be very honest, what would you like to tell them? How does it all happen for you when it comes to intimate photography?
The first thing that I would like to tell everybody if they're listening to this or whatever, a person's body is not sexual. You make it sexual. Nudity is not porn. Any type of skin shown is not consent. And that is like the three things that I would like tell everybody. With that being out of the way, it's never, so I usually do not approach people. Even if I have a thing, I do not usually tell people that there is this thing, or usually there is this thing and this is the whole look I was looking for. Would you be interested? I have been very lucky, and I do not know how this has come to pass, because I do not know exactly, like literally I do not know how this has come to pass. People trust me with their lives, with their bodies, with their safe spaces, to the extent where they're comfortable to that point. And I'm very privileged, and I'm very grateful and very thankful for those experiences, because I've had incredible stories about people. And like I am like a firm believer that if you take humanity and put it in a glass box, if you take a baby in a glass box and like let it grow up, it's not going to be an evil person. It's going to be a good person. Humanity is wired for survival, but humanity is also wired to be social, to help others. The boundaries that we make, that we experience, are things that we make of our own accord. The boundaries, the whole walls that we experience, the walls, they are literally called walls because we built them, and we did build them. And if you want, like, that is the long and short of it. I get asked to be a part of their life, to be a part of their vulnerable space, and I consider myself extremely lucky and extremely grateful for it, because honestly, like, this is like, at that point when, so fashion is something else, films, or like not films, like portraiture is something else. But when you cross this line, it's no longer just a photograph. You're literally like just like capturing this person on a piece of like film, or like on a photo or something, forever. This is them, and this is like, you have to be very respectful about it, because you cannot fuck it up.
Yeah.
And this puts a lot of pressure on my shoulders, because if they're willing to be so vulnerable about me, I need to step my game up, and I need to understand them.
Yes,
so it's, and I'm very happy that the number of times I've shot that way, all of them have become like really close, like they have become family. They check up on me, I check up on them. It's like it has become like a whole extended family of families, and like it's a whole network rather.
That is so
So
nice.
yeah,
But
that's
if you had to give an advice to people, who are interested in these kinds of shoots, doing these kinds of shoots, in the sense, they are the photographers and they have this insane idea to do something like this, and they are really into it, they want to do it. How would you tell them to actually approach someone? Because I know
do
it's
not
very, why?
do not approach.
Why?
See, my first answer is like, if you approach somebody, you need to be very convinced what you want to do, and you need to be able to respect that person and at that position. A lot of times it becomes a power play, because if a person is vulnerable to that extent and you are taking photographs, you see, when you like already, when I'm telling it to you, do you not sense a power play?
Yeah.
There is a person very vulnerable and there is a person who is literally taking photographs of this person.
Yes.
So you have to be very, very, very aware of it. Go for it, or ask people that are already, you know very well, or you know would be comfortable with. But I am still going to tell you not to approach people willy-nilly. You have this idea, would you do this with me? Have respect and usually let it happen organically. If you take photos of this sort, or if you take boudoir photos, which is like the correct term of it, do it when the thing comes to you, not when you chase it. I hope that makes sense.
No, it does. It really does. Because even if I'm not a photographer, I think somewhere ये question मेरे माथा में रहता है कि how do people actually go for it? That it's like, yes, the person who is being photographed, I think that person will be comfortable. I'm just assuming कि that person is comfortable. But the person who will take the photographs, as you said, the power is in that person's hand that time. How does that person approach? That is something that always has bugged me, because I think उसके पास जितना authority and power and responsibility है, I don't think कि उस समय किसी और के पास उतना रहेगा. And that person can do anything about it. And as you said, that person cannot fuck it up. That person has to be very, very respectful about what that person is doing with that photograph, and how that person is portraying that person, like the model and anyone who is there for the photograph. So I always wanted to know about how this thing happens, and I can completely understand what you just said. To be very honest, I can't put it on my own words, but literally I can.
Yeah, it's more of like it's more of an emotional like a thing.
Yes. And
exactly.
it's
very hard to put it in words. That I know.
And सामने आपने ये बोला ना कि those people became your family, because वो लोग आपके सामने vulnerable भी थे, but you also had the chance to be vulnerable in front of them. Somewhere emotionally, that connection was there, and that helped you to get those kinds of people around you who were aware about that respectful boundary, and also about how to respect one another regarding those things as well. So I am saying every fucking answer is something that I am getting to learn here, to be very honest, Anubhav, because I think काफी, as I said again, I am going to repeat the same thing कि काफी कुछ वो experience आपने किया है, काफी कुछ नया चीज मेरे को देखने को मिल रहा है, and that's the one of the biggest reasons I do these kinds of episodes कि हाँ हमको कुछ सीखने को मिलेगा, and that is very important for me.
That's like one of the things that I talk to or like photograph people. The thing is that like throughout like the things that I've done, it's usually like me learning from them. Despite whatever the shoot might be, it's just me learning from them. So at the end of the day, if we have to like, since how I approach my work, like if we had to write occupation for the two of us, it would be the same occupation. We learn.
Yeah, वो mentality है कि हाँ we need to learn. That is something which is very important. Yes. वो mentality अगर किसी पे रहता है तो there is this interesting factor also ना, अंदर से human body से आता है कि you need to give your 100% because you're learning something.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So that is very nice. Okay. One advice that you would like to give any photographer, any upcoming photographer, or anyone who wants to be a photographer?
Be very respectful about the people that you're working with. That's all.
Okay.
If you're respectful, you'll automatically draw boundaries and you'll know what to do.
What kind of prejudices have you faced when it comes to this kind of field? Being a photographer, from your friends, from people around you, being a photographer, what kind of prejudices have you faced? Because I know we are in a society which is very orthodox rather than unorthodox. You know that as we talked about the parents wala thing also, you said na ki nobody is 100% okay with changing the career prospect, right? Our parents are not that ready every time, and they have this thing ki कैसे कर लेगा, क्यों करना है, and everything. But that's why I really want to know ki, having this orthodox society, what kind of prejudices have you faced when it comes to photography?
Achha, so I'll go back to, like, I think I mentioned it once, that I kind of like have a very heavy selection process.
Hmm.
I like go through multiple screenings of like work, and so that doesn't mean like I get a lot of work, but I really, if I'm working with something or the other, if I'm getting projects, I screen them out or something.
Hmm.
So in that way, I haven't had to face prejudices as much as other people, particularly women photographers, have had to face, because I think my gender itself gives me a lot of freedom to boss around people, and I've seen this in, like, with my own eyes, of set where I am like this assistant, or like where I'm assisting a friend or something or the other, and if the friend who is running the show is a woman director or a photographer, they usually, the people who are working, the, like, not the clients obviously, but like people around them, come to me to ask stuff, whereas they should be asking her.
Yeah.
So prejudices in my life, or something in my way of shooting, or like my way of creating, I haven't faced major prejudices, but I've seen it happen on set quite often to other people, not to me, and particularly people who identify as women.
ये inbuilt हो गया ना कहीं because of the patriarchal society that we live in. I think that's an inbuilt.
Yeah, for sure.
ये सारे जन पे ही है. It's not about whether you identify as a man or a woman or non-binary. But the biggest thing is कि वो अंदर से ही आ गया क्योंकि हमें बड़ा वैसा किया गया. And
yeah, exactly. I think if you're not a dude, you are nothing. You know what I mean?
I think our generation has this capability to change a lot of things when it comes to this. Like,
yeah, I firmly believe it as well.
Because I think your mentality, somewhere I am also in a learning process about LGBTQI plus community, about women as well, about feminism. I'm learning as well as I am growing, and I'm doing my podcast and everything. So I think this curve for me, this learning curve for me, this unlearning curve for me, and where you are also learning a lot of things, where you also have such kind of knowledge about certain things. I think इस चीज के बारे में हम लोग जहाँ पे where we decided ना, we don't want to be ignorant about these kinds of things that are happening.
Yeah, we should talk about it more often. Yeah. Exactly.
वहीं से शायद changes आया है. And that's where I believed, I actually heard someone say this, some influencer, or I think someone who started to talk about these kinds of topics randomly last year. वहाँ से podcast idea आया कि when you talk about certain topics like this, I think there is a lot of chances कि वहीं से change चालू हो जाएगा. Because someone who is talking to me about this topic has this thing inside their head कि हाँ ये conversation हो चुका. Somewhere who has listened to it, whether they agree or not, that's a whole different factor, but somewhere they have this in their head कि हाँ they have listened to me, or listened to that person, listen to someone talk about certain topics, like at least mental health or LGBTQI plus community, anything. उनके माथा में वो रह चुका है. तो somewhere when it comes in the movie or in the news channel or event where they read something, कोई friend के साथ में भी बैठा है तो they'll have this thing, oh I listened somewhere, याद नहीं आ रहा, but they have this thing. So I think talk can actually change a lot of things. So thank you so much.
Yeah, exactly.
That thing also ki even here where you were the assistant and the person who is directing is a woman. वहाँ पे भी काफी patriarchy है, and it's like कहीं पे भी ढूंढो it's
कहीं पे भी ढूंढो मिल जाएगा. Like it's like a damn infection. It's like a pandemic.
You can say it. Okay, my last question to our whole conversation is, what kind of differences do you see when you started as a photographer, as a visual artist yourself, And
Hmm.
the person, if you compare yourself from that time to the Anubhav that you are today, what kind of differences do you see in yourself?
I think we can like break it into like a few parts.
Yeah, okay.
It's going to be a long one.
Not a problem.
I'm warning you before.
Not a problem.
So I have this thing that I used to describe my old selves and my future selves. And I use this quote not quote, like I use this way to describe myself very often, because I feel like that is the most, like right now, that is the truest form of description that I can give to my past and future selves in regard to my present self. It's like looking at a mirror, okay? But that mirror is separated from you, like from space and time. Like you see yourself in that mirror, but it's not the same you. You know that there is this person, okay? You know that there is this person. There are still remains of, so a reflection is essentially a image of you, right? So it's you.
Yeah.
But if you like separate it using time itself, not using just space, you see that person who you've been inside you as well. They're still there. You have to admit to the fuck ups that you've made back then.
Yeah.
You have to come to peace that you will make up more mistakes in the future. You have to be very cognizant about it.
Yeah.
And that is like the way that I kind of describe my relationship with my past and future selves. With regard to that, see, like for if you like back then, or like not back then is not the right word actually. Since then, as a person, there has been like large number of changes in my, like the way I think, the way I like I go through life, that I approach relationships, platonic, non-platonic, people, whatever, work, and like see how work is at fourth of my list. So you see how not important it is to me compared to the other three.
Okay.
So work and like all this other stuff. So right, like it's a right now I have this wider sense of perspective. Nearly getting a terminal disease will do that to you. You are going to see everything from such a wide perspective that it's kind of terrifying at times, because you end up going through rabbit holes of like overthinking, because you want to account for a lot of stuff because it's a wide perspective, right? But you can't. You have to admit that you are human. You are going to make mistakes. You are going to learn from mistakes, and you are going to also be very ashamed of cringy shit that you did when you were like a kid or like 5 years back.
Okay.
So the most like the shortest way that I can like sum up all these things through space and like through time and through reflections and everything is that the more you keep growing, the wider your perspective is going to be.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
Have you ever talked to your grandparents?
I was not that close with my grandparents, so no.
Achha, so my grandfather, my father's side, so I wasn't lucky enough to meet my maternal grandparents because they passed on before I was born.
Okay.
But I had a very close relationship with my paternal grandparents.
Okay.
So my granddad, like my grandfather, he was this huge person, like 6 feet something, lanky dude who has like the strength of like 1,000 elephants in his hand, because he had to live through 2 world wars, right?
Oh.
So he had to be really strong, yeah. And the only thing that I still remember since then, and I think I carry that with me wherever I go, and this is for both of my grandparents, grandma and granddad, because my grandmother was like, she taught me how to be patient.
Okay.
And she taught me how to forgive others. She taught me how to be accepting of differences.
Okay.
And my grandfather, he taught me, they did not know that they were teaching me this. Whenever, like only when I like write it down and I like look back and when I introspect deeply, and when I like go through like family records and stuff, because I'm the youngest in the family. I haven't met a lot of my relatives who have like sadly passed on. I've just heard stories about them. And I've heard most of these stories from my grandparents when they were alive. My grandfather, he unknowingly taught me to be able to like keep a wide perspective, or like to keep a wide playing field in your brain. Like anything might come up, you have to be prepared for you have to be prepared to, and like you have to be able to anticipate it in a way that you are going to be flexible enough. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Not anticipate. What am I saying? You need to be able to be flexible enough to like prepare for it or like work on it. It can be anything. It can be an injury. It can be something, and that is the one thing that I firmly believe. If you if you would have talked to me 6 years or 7 years back, that the perspective would have been different. Right now, it's going to be another perspective, and 10 years later, I am very sure it's going to be even wider as well, because that's how we grow. That's the more experiences that you have in yourself, the more wider your point of view goes and comes.
Absolutely. I had goosebumps, to be very honest, when you started about the space and time difference in front of the mirror, and I literally had goosebumps because I could see the time change that I have had. Because obviously, I'm listening to you, I'm imagining what has been for me. And when you talked about your great parents as well, I had the goosebumps because that wide perspective wala thing is something I think I have learned from different people all around me, but I have learned that. And I could see that wide perspective is something that people actually don't acknowledge that much. क्योंकि जैसे जैसे हम लोग बढ़ते हैं वैसे वैसे हमें और भी नई नई चीज पता चलता है, and we are
पता चलता है, but you also there is this weird thing that where you like know a lot of stuff, but you intentionally like narrow yourself because that is your comfort zone.
Yes.
Even though you keep these two parallel lines. You do not like widen them out.
Absolutely.
And the widening part happens consciously. It doesn't happen subconsciously.
खुद से. Yes. The biggest thing is that only कि people like human beings are ऐसा ही कि अगर वो लोग को जब तक समझ में नहीं आता कि वो perspective बढ़ रहा है, as you said, हम लोग खुद से ही narrow करते हैं. It's not that somebody asks us to do it or the society is letting us do it. It's not like that. The introspection part is something which is very important for a lot of people, which I had the chance because of the pandemic to go for. जैसे अकेला रहना, when we talked about mental health and pandemic, you said that you are a person who can stay alone with yourself and you have been comfortable with that. I am not that person. I have had a lot of friends all around. I have had I was the person who used to call people up and कि कैसा है, क्या कर रहा है and all that. And after the pandemic,
I have a lot of friends, and honestly, I'm telling you, people who do not do that, specifically people like me, are very grateful for people like you, because people like me are shit communicators in this sense. We would have been nowhere.
You'll take the compliment right now. Let me complete. I have changed totally. I'm not that person anymore who calls people. I'm not. Because I have started to be comfortable with myself, and it is amazing. It's so nice. As you said that when you accept your own fuck ups, you have a different view of things. I've done a lot of fuck ups, not about just relationships but friendships. My own, any kind of relationship that I've had with myself, in the sense and set of careers and profession, with my family, anyone. I've done a lot of fuck ups here and there. Yes. When I started to accept it and I started to agree on it, I saw that pattern almost changed. I have a different view altogether, and I don't want to do it anymore. I know from myself, from within, I know. And if I'm comfortable with that fuck up, hum apna lega. It's just like, this is something that I want to do every time. I want to do, I am enjoying it, I like it, this is me. This is something that I want to accept. Literally, these nail paints were something that I didn't do बहुत पहले से I really wanted to do, because I saw a lot of people do it. A lot of queer people were outspoken, and I didn't know about these kinds of things उस समय. नहीं था उतना woke, नहीं था उतना understandable, नहीं था. कभी कोई वैसा लोग ही नहीं था जो हमको आके समझाए. To be very, very, very honest. So, because of these kinds of things, I have accepted this whole thing. Even applying makeup is fine for me right now. Even nail paints are fine. Wearing chains are fine. Wearing a dress for कोई लड़की का कपड़ा हो, I am fine with that also, because I really, really believe, having this whole gender thing is utter nonsense. It's utter nonsense. Because human beings are human beings. You need to understand कि तुम कौन है. You can be anything at any moment. You can be a lot of masculine, a lot of feminine at any moment. And right now,
you can be neither in between as well. You can literally.
That's what I was saying.
Exactly. There is such a wide range of expressions, and we're just stuck to black and white.
That's what I told you, ना. वो चीज समझ में आया जब मैं अकेला रहा. अकेला रहने के बाद I got to know कि I love this thing यार, I like this thing, I like being vulnerable, being emotional, and my friends used to make fun of me. इतना क्या emotional हो जाता है यार, चुप रहे, कोई बात नहीं, लड़की जैसा क्या कर रहा है. These things were normal.
Oh, dude, that last sentence, no. I come from like a all boys school, no. That I have heard so much
अब
that
हमको
last
trigger
sentence.
करना
Why
है.
are you behaving like a girl?
To be very honest,
I'm like-
I get triggered. Yeah, same reaction. And you know, as okay, leave everything. Okay, this was the last question. Okay, I got a lot of vulnerable and anything. So again,
So,
Anubhav, I got vulnerable. I got vulnerable.
Oh man.
So I can
If I'm a superhero, I can literally do that. Like I'll have like a
superpower.
vulnerable,
yeah.
vulnerable.
So yeah, I'm really happy that I had this conversation with you. I am
Me too.
very
I had
happy.
like a fun time, really fun time.
For me too, because after a long time I had the chance to talk to someone about certain things that they don't usually. You didn't talk about your profession at all. You talked about your
No,
experience.
the profession.
Actually,
the
you
profession
talked
is-
about your experiences, and that was very
The
important.
profession is a product of experiences, right? It shapes who you are, and then the profession comes into play.
But what I have had from you, the answers, the conversation that I had the chance to have with you, is something which I really wanted on my episode. So thank you
so much for having me.
much, and thank you for being so vulnerable yourself, sharing your experiences. It's not that easy for people to be that open enough about their whole journey.
Thank you for having me over. I had a lot of fun, and like this was a really fun episode. Also, this is like my first time doing something like this, so thank you for also taking the chance on like this random dude on the interwebs and stuff. So
Okay.
thank you for like letting me be on a platform and everything. It was a really
Thank you
fun.
so much everyone for listening to this episode. If you like my content and still haven't subscribed to my channel, you can do it now and help me grow. And if you like the episode today, please like, share and comment as well. And I have shared a few links down on the description below. Please give a follow. Also, my podcast is available on various other platforms. The link to them are on the description below. Thank you so much everyone. Next episode next Saturday.